Lost pencil.
David was a careful, thoughtful boy who liked everything to be neat, organized, and ready. Every evening, before going to bed, David had a special routine. He carefully opened his backpack and checked every single school supply. His notebooks were stacked neatly. His books were always clean. Everything had its place. Everything was ready for tomorrow's adventure at school. But among all the things inside his backpack, there was one small object that meant a little more than the others: his favorite yellow pencil. It wasn't just any pencil. Its bright yellow color always made David smile. It felt smooth in his hand. It was comfortable to hold. And whenever he used it, the words seemed to flow effortlessly across the page. Every day, that little yellow pencil helped him write stories, solve math problems, finish homework, and learn something new. He owned other pencils, of course, but somehow this one always felt special. It never let him down. Transition. One sunny afternoon, golden sunlight streamed through the dining room windows. The whole house felt peaceful. David sat down at the dining room table, ready to finish a few school activities. He opened his backpack, he took out his notebook, then, without even looking, he reached into his pencil case. Small pause. His hand stopped. He frowned slightly. Something didn't feel right. Slowly, he looked inside the pencil case. Once, then again, and then a third time. He searched every corner carefully, every pocket, every tiny space. But his favorite yellow pencil wasn't there. David whispered, "It isn't here." David stood up immediately, not in panic, not with frustration, but with quiet determination. If the pencil was somewhere, he would find it. He looked under the chairs. Nothing. Beside the sofa. Nothing. Underneath the dining room table. Still nothing. He gently scratched his head. A puzzled smile appeared on his face. "Where," he wondered quietly, "is my yellow pencil?" Soft transition. Just then, someone walked into the room. It was his sister. She was carrying a book, completely absorbed in her reading. David looked at her with a little spark of hope. Perhaps she had seen it. David looked at his sister with hopeful eyes. Perhaps she had seen the missing pencil. Perhaps the mystery was about to be solved. "Have you seen my yellow pencil?" His sister stopped walking. She gently lowered her book. For a moment, she thought carefully. "The yellow one? Yes. I can't find it anywhere." She slowly looked around the dining table. Her eyes searched the notebook, the books, the chairs, the floor. She wanted to help. She really did. After a few moments, she gave a gentle shake of her head. "I'm sorry. I don't know where your pencil is." David smiled politely. There was no disappointment in his voice, only gratitude. "That's okay. Thanks for trying." His sister smiled back. "I hope you find it." Then she quietly returned to her book while David remained standing, thinking. He knew there had to be an answer. Objects didn't simply disappear. especially not his careful little yellow pencil. "Pencils," he whispered, "don't just disappear." Instead of searching everywhere again, David decided to do something different. He became very still. He closed his eyes, he took a slow breath, and he asked himself the most important question. What was I doing before lunch? His mind slowly traveled backward through the morning. He remembered waking up. He remembered eating breakfast. He remembered getting ready. Little by little, the memories began returning, like small pieces of a puzzle. He thought and thought and thought. The room was completely quiet. Only the soft ticking of the clock could be heard. Then, suddenly, his eyes opened. A memory flashed into his mind. "Oh, I remember. I used my yellow pencil before lunch." His face immediately brightened. The mystery was finally beginning to make sense. He could clearly remember sitting at the kitchen table earlier that morning. The memory became sharper with every passing second. His teacher had helped him understand a difficult lesson the day before. David had felt thankful, very thankful. So he had decided to write a short thank you note, not because anyone asked him to, but because he truly appreciated his teacher's kindness. He could almost see himself holding the yellow pencil, writing each word carefully, neatly, with a smile. "Dear teacher, thank you for helping me. David." The memory felt so real it was almost happening again. He remembered folding the note very carefully, then placing it inside an envelope. I remember the note. I remember the envelope. But then another question appeared, one more clue still waiting to be discovered. Where did I put the envelope? The answer was closer than he thought.
David stood perfectly still. His eyes remained focused, not on the room around him, but on the memories inside his mind. He wanted to see the morning again, exactly as it had happened. He imagined the kitchen, the bright morning sunlight, the wooden table, the chairs. He remembered helping his family prepare breakfast. He remembered the smell of warm toast, fresh fruit, and hot tea. Every little detail made the memory clearer. Then, without warning, another memory came rushing back. David's eyes opened wide. A bright smile spread across his face. "The kitchen! I think I left the envelope there." Without wasting another second, David hurried toward the kitchen, not running wildly, but walking quickly, his heart filled with hope. Perhaps this was the clue he had been searching for. As he entered the kitchen, warm sunlight poured through the window, covering the room in a soft golden glow. Everything looked clean. Everything looked peaceful. The kitchen felt just as welcoming as it had that morning. He looked at the table first. Nothing. He checked near the sink. Nothing. Then his eyes moved slowly toward the counter carpet. Suddenly, he froze. A smile appeared. There it is! The envelope. It was resting quietly on the counter, exactly where he had left it, right beside the toaster. David let out a small sigh of relief. At least one part of the mystery had been solved. I found the envelope. But the most important question still remained. Where was the yellow pencil? David looked carefully around the counter. It wasn't there. He checked beside the envelope. Nothing. He looked behind it. Still nothing. He leaned forward, then bent down just a little. His eyes searched the floor beneath the counter. For one quiet moment,
he saw nothing. Then a tiny flash of bright yellow caught his eye. There you are! His favorite yellow pencil was lying quietly underneath the toaster. It must have rolled off the counter without making a sound, hidden there all this time, waiting patiently to be found. A wave of relief filled David's heart. He carefully reached down, his fingers gently wrapped around the pencil. He lifted it slowly and smiled from ear to ear. I finally found you. The mystery was over. David looked at the bright yellow pencil resting safely in his hand. For a moment, he simply smiled, not because he had found a pencil, but because he had solved the mystery. He gently brushed away a little dust and admired his favorite pencil. It looked exactly the same, bright, smooth, reliable, just as he remembered. Just then, his sister walked into the kitchen. She noticed the smile on David's face and the yellow pencil in his hand. Her eyes lit up with curiosity. Did you find it? Yes! He proudly held the pencil up like a little treasure, a treasure that had been hiding in plain sight. Where was it? It was under the toaster. For a second, his sister stared at him. Then she laughed, a warm, happy laugh that filled the kitchen. So that's where it was hiding. I almost thought it had disappeared forever. I'm glad you remembered what happened before lunch. So am I. Very carefully, David placed the yellow pencil back into his pencil case. This time, he made sure it was sitting safely inside. Then he slowly zipped the pencil case closed. Zip! A small sound that somehow felt like the perfect ending to the little mystery. This time, I'm going to put it away as soon as I finish using it. That's a smart idea. David smiled. He had learned something important that day. When something seems lost, there is no need to panic. There is no need to give up. The best thing to do is to stay calm. Take a deep breath, think carefully, and remember the last place you used it. That afternoon, David didn't solve the mystery because he searched harder. He solved it because he thought more carefully. He trusted his memory. He followed each clue, one step at a time, and in the end, his memory led him exactly where he needed to go. From that day forward, whenever David couldn't find something, he never rushed. He never became frustrated. Instead, he would stop, close his eyes, take a quiet breath, and retrace his steps, one memory at a time. More often than not, the answer was waiting, exactly where his memory led him. Sometimes, the greatest tool for solving a mystery isn't luck. It isn't speed. It isn't searching everywhere. It's a calm mind, a patient heart, and the courage to think cheerfully. And somewhere inside David's neatly packed backpack, his favorite yellow pencil rested quietly, ready for another school day, another story, another lesson, another adventure. Sometimes the things we think we've lost are simply waiting for us to remember where to look.